everybody. Welcome to the Otherz podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Penny. Joining me this week, our first Canadian guest, I think, if I remember correctly. If you follow us on Instagram or anywhere else, you probably know this guy. You've probably heard us talk about him numerous times in the past. It is Mr. History Vault, a.k.a. OG Vault, a.k.a. the sixth letter. How you doing, man?
Peace, man. I'm smooth, bro. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad here, not too bad. So you're in Toronto, is that right?
Yeah, Toronto, Canada.
Okay, so yeah, as I say, most people that listen to this podcast probably know you through your Instagram accounts where you buy and sell BBC stuff and Bape stuff, but then also a lot of people probably know you through your music as well. And yeah, you had an album out recently.
Yeah, a Bathing Ape in a Hot Box. We just dropped that back in November. It's on all streaming platforms and stuff, you know.
Good plug. Yeah. Nice early plug in there. Yep. Most people will probably listen to that, but if you have not, get on that, and we will talk about that a little bit more later on, I think. But we're going to start this off with this episode, and we're going to talk about Hypnotize U this week.
Classic. Just close eyes, hypnotize you.
I think this is a very underrated and slept-on song.
Yeah.
I don't hear this enough.
It's actually a really dope song. I thoroughly enjoy that record. It comes on, I don't skip that shit. I fuck with that.
Yeah. I keep that one on every time. Sure. It pops up on YouTube quite regularly. I happily sit there and watch the video. It helps that the video is quite easy on the eye as well, I think. But all in all, it's a great song and great video. Just to give everybody the kind of stats and the information, it was the second and final single from Nothing. As most people probably know, it was produced by Daft Punk. It was actually their first production feature for another artist. And they also have writing credits on the song as well. It was released on the 16th of October 2010. I feel really, really old. The video came out about a month later or so. And there are also a number of remixes to this song as well. There were 5 remixes that came out, I think, with the single.
Really?
The video itself was directed by Paul Hunter, who has obviously done numerous N.E.R.D and Pharrell videos. Currently sitting at 13 million views on YouTube. In terms of chart positions, I haven't really got much info on the chart positions. I know in Belgium it got a fairly poor 54. And that's about all I've got in terms of that. I don't remember it charting very well anywhere, to be honest. As I say, I think this was quite a slept-on song.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
as I say, this was like the final single from Nothing. I think they only had, was it the 2 singles from Nothing? Obviously, I don't think they were particularly keen in terms of promoting the album. They weren't happy with the album and the label at the time. So it makes sense that they didn't really release much off of it, didn't do a huge amount of promo work for it. I guess this video is reasonably high budget. You know, with only 2 videos from the album, there was probably more budget to spend than there would normally be. But all in all, I think a fairly strong song, a fairly strong video. I guess most people have seen the video, but it's quite simplistic in terms of its concept and what happens in the video. So we've got Pharrell and at some other points Shay and Chad in a mansion which looks to be in Miami or thereabouts, that part of the world, with a number of women who are seemingly hypnotized by Pharrell, as you can imagine, based on the name of the song. That's kind of all there is to it, really. There's not an awful lot. It's quite a sort of simplistic video in terms of the concept of it. Are you a fan of the video itself?
Yeah, I'm actually watching it as you're talking about it. It's like on mute right now. I'm just like taking in the visuals. I haven't watched it in a couple days. But yeah, I definitely am a fan of it, man. It's sick how they put it together. The aesthetic is very clean, straight to the point. And I don't know if you've noticed this, and I'm just like really trying to analyze it now as I'm talking to you. But there's a few scenes in there where he's wearing the BBC Money Rolls print swim shorts. I wonder if that's the same pair that was in the That Girl video.
Quite possibly, yes.
Because they didn't re-release that, as far as I know.
No, they haven't. So yeah, quite possibly it is.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that. It's pretty dope that he brought that back. If that is the exact same pair.
Yeah, and we've got quite a few BBC items throughout the video. We've got the white jet BBC
The jet polo,
yeah,
that's
which is one of the very few which actually has the astronaut head
on the side
sleeve
too.
as well.
Yeah,
there weren't that many. We've got the tiger camo shorts. I've got noted here, yeah, the yellow money roll shorts. We've then got, I think Shay's wearing a BBC NASA logo hat, and then we've got Chad in one of the BBC balaclavas. I think it was one of the astronaut balaclavas.
Yep. That's a classic scene right there. When they're just sitting on the couch,
watching the black and white movie, and I can't.
The hypnotist.
Yes, that's it. I was trying to think of the name of it. So yeah, we've got some classic BBC items throughout the video. Not too heavy on the
very subtle
product placement.
Yeah.
I think this is where they were starting to get a bit more clever about it.
Yeah, as per usual, because prior to that, it was just like in your face. Like, yo, BBC IceCream, BBC IceCream.
Yeah, a lot of the earlier stuff was very much like that. It was branding everywhere. Yeah. Everyone was dressed head to toe in BBC.
Yeah.
And then we had a few videos where we saw none of it whatsoever.
Yep.
Not quite sure why, but that's kind of what they chose to do. And then, yeah, this is where it's just starting to come back in, where I think we're starting to see a little bit of a resurgence in the brand. It became a little bit more, I guess, grown up around this time. A lot cleaner, a lot simpler. It was turning into a bit more of a grown up brand.
You know, it's crazy. At this time in my life, when I was witnessing this change occur, I was like, nah, man. I wasn't fucking with it at all. I was just like, yo, I need that shit from like a couple seasons prior, like the 06 to like 8 kind of stuff. Like, that was my shit. But now, like, I have a bunch of these pieces from like those seasons, and it's just like they just feel right. Like, now I understand it more. At the time, I was much younger and shit. You know, I was really into the flamboyant, flashy type of like style. But it's good to have that balance and be able to mix it up. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So I really appreciate those subtle joints. Now, like, my favorite stuff from either brand, Bape or BBC IceCream, is the stuff that's like you don't really know what it is until you see the tags, or you have to pay attention to the small details on it to be like, oh, that's what that is. Like,
yeah, definitely.
But it's a dope piece nonetheless, regardless of what brand it is. You might see it and be like, yo, that's a nice jacket. What brand is that? Oh shit, like, you know, and then you realize it's Bape, like, or BBC IceCream. Like, that's like my favorite type of piece.
Yeah, so not a large amount of product placement in terms of the BBC and IceCream stuff. We've got the of course we've got a Beats boom box, the beat box in the video. I guess we still see this a lot now, but especially around this time, this when Beats was becoming really big and had product placement in every music video going.
Pretty much every video there was.
Yeah, they were spending a lot of money you know, on their marketing budget. So in terms of the song itself, as I say, very underrated. A really nice beat, a real I don't know how to phrase it, a very sexual song, I guess is a way of putting it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, there are a lot of innuendos in there, you know, the behind you, the inside you, used alternately in the hook, and it's kind of got that slow pace to it where it is that kind of, I was going to say romantic, it's not necessarily romantic, but that kind of background music, you know, if you were, let's say, whining and dining your significant other. What else have we got in terms of the song? I'm trying to flick through my notes and see what we've got. As I say, not much promo for this this song itself. There is another version on YouTube, a live version from Letterman.
Wait, Letterman.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't think I've seen that one. I thought you were about to say there was a live version where it's like they're in a living room or something. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this is on the Letterman show. Okay. I think the living room one you're thinking of is it's in Paris, I believe, and it was for a TV company or something. And yeah, they did 6 or 7 tracks from the album, I think.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. I've definitely seen that. I'm not sure about the Letterman one though. But yeah, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
That's right. Yeah, the Letterman one is a slightly strained performance. I'm not quite sure if it came at the start or the end of whatever promo they did. It's not a particularly good live performance. You have Pharrell kind of sat on a stool, seemingly struggling to hit some of the high notes, which can be understandable. And then you've got Chad and Shay in the back looking, I would say, exceptionally bored. And not really doing anything or having any involvement whatsoever. So it's certainly not one of the best live performances I've seen from N.E.R.D.
I'm gonna get that one and look after.
Yeah, I'll try and put a link in the show notes for anyone that wants to go and watch it. But yeah, don't
expect much from it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have high hopes in terms of being entertained by it in any way. That's pretty much all the notes I had in terms of the song. Like I say, the album itself didn't really do an awful lot. The tracks from the album didn't really do an awful lot. As I say, they weren't happy with the album. They didn't do much promo for it. We had this, and what was the first single? Was it Hot and Fun?
I think, Hot and Fun.
Yeah.
With Nelly Furtado.
Yeah, which is the track that I dislike the most.
She's Canadian as well.
She is, yeah. Where in Canada, do you know?
I think I Googled it one time, and it was like Nova Scotia. I was so curious, because I remember growing up hearing that she was like Canadian. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I always thought she was American, but no, I think it's like Nova Scotia or something like that. I don't know.
But not from around your way, though.
No, not from around here, nah. But in the country somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a big old country. Yeah, anything you've got to kind of mention about the track? Anything you'd like or even dislike about it?
Nah, what I really like is the beat and the fact that like the falsetto mesh of like his vocals and the beat together. Just, I don't know, there's something about it. It's really like cool. I really like that song. Like whenever it comes on, I'm just like, this is a dope song. Let it just, just vibe out to it and shit. But nah, it's not really like one of those songs where it's like I go crazy about like, yo, this song here and then this part of that, like. Can't really break it down like that, but it's just a dope song. You can just appreciate it, for what it is.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely one that, as you say, when it comes on, I'll always make sure I listen to it. It's not one I tend to skip through.
Especially the video. I feel like the video somewhat like hypnotizes you as well. It's like it just locks you in. Like you just got to pay attention.
Well, it works very well. There's a lot of kind of close-up shots of both Pharrell and the women in the video of just headshots that are kind of quite tight where they're just looking into the camera, which I guess kind of draws your own eyes into that as well. So it kind of works on that level too. They had it all planned out.
Yep, great record though, man.
All right, let's. This was a quick one. Let's try and give this a score of some kind if we can. If you out of 10 for the song and then for the video, what would you give it?
The video, I'll give it like a solid like 7. I'll give it a solid 7. The record, I want to say the same, maybe an 8, because the beat's just so dope and different, and that's what I love Neptunes for, right? And N.E.R.D, like I love their shit for being dope and different. So it was exactly what it was supposed to be in my eyes, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd say like an 8 for the record. Video 7, yeah.
I think we're on the same wavelength. I would say about the same, yeah. A kind of 6 to 7 for the video for me. It's nothing mind-blowing, but as you say, kind of aesthetically, it's quite nice.
And it fits the record, right?
Yeah, it's subtle, it's laid back, it's well shot, it looks very good. But yeah, nothing mind-blowing. So yeah, a good 6 or solid 7. And yeah, the song itself would be kind of 7 to 8 for me as well. As you said, the beat works really well with the vocals. You've got a Daft Punk beat on there, which is...
Yeah, I always forget that. I always think it's Neptunes, but they co-produced it. They added, like, additional, like, I think, like, synths or some shit on it.
Yes, having a Daft Punk beat is a rarity, and I think it works really well. And like you say, the vocals kind of match very well with it to kind of get through a whole track. Well, not a whole track, but a lot of a track in that kind of falsetto range. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always work on a lot of songs. It can come across as quite annoying at times. It doesn't always sound right if it's not. Yeah, if it's not matched with the right track.
Yeah.
But in this one, it really does work very, very well.
Yep.
Just unfortunately, there's a lot of those high notes, and that obviously took its toll on Pharrell's poor voice when he was trying to promote this.
Yo, don't mean to sidetrack you, but yeah, I just looked it up real quick. Nelly Furtado is actually from British Columbia.
Okay.
So that's British Columbia, Canada. Yeah.
Fun fact for all of you Nelly Furtado fans out there.
Yeah.
And where is British Columbia?
That's on the west. That's the West Coast.
Yeah, my Canadian geography isn't as good as it should be. All right, let's move on then. What have we got next? Let's talk about. We'll leave pickups till the end because I'm sure you've probably got some things to mention. Let's talk about some recent goings on since the last podcast. So recent BBC releases. We've got I can't remember if we talked about this previously. A number of new releases in the UK. Japan also doing some nice stuff at the moment. But the kind of big ticket items, I guess, of the last month or two were the re-release of the Swarovski T-shirts and hoodies. We had the BBC Arch logo, and then the was it the Cone Man, the ice cream Cone Man?
Yeah.
So a shout, a throwback to the originals that kind of came out. What were they? Season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah. Now, I think as with every kind of re-release we get mixed reviews from the people out there on Instagram and across the internet. Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear what you kind of think about the brand kind of re-releasing these designs, especially kind of these high-end kind of Swarovski items, which the originals are really, really sought after and used to go for crazy money as well.
Yeah, that part for sure. Word. Honestly, like I'm not a fan of the re-releases, but I can understand why they do them, and it's like, it's cool because it gives the like the new fans, the people that are just catching wind of like what happened when they weren't paying attention, like the history and shit. They're like, oh well, the very first season ever they had these Swarovski tees. Like this brand comes out of nowhere, and then they have $500 T-shirts. It's like, wow, this is insane. Like, what's so special about this shirt? Why is it $500? And then you know what I'm saying? You read the specs, you understand that it's made from 100% Swarovski crystals, which isn't cheap, and it's manufactured in Japan using like high quality fabrics and stuff. And then you have import charges and fees and all that come into play, plus shipping and taxes and all that. So the price kind of makes sense, But for the new guys, man, the new fans and stuff that are just catching wind, it gives them a chance to own these things, or like, because it's not the same thing, but like it's a piece of the history per se, So it's like it gives them a chance to experience, like, all right, this is that release, like now here's your chance to get this again, since you missed out the first time. So that part's cool for the new guys and shit. But for us OGs, man, it's just like it'll never be the same, because like for one, the logos aren't exactly the same, specifically the Cone Man release. Because, like, it's one word ice cream as opposed to ice and then cream under it, right? And I've seen some of the pictures of people wearing it, and it looks like it's actually smaller. Like, the print is smaller than the original one. It took up more of the actual T-shirt on the front for the original.
Right, okay, yeah. So less crystals being used.
Yeah. So that makes sense why the price is damn near half of what it used to cost when it first came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have the fact that it was manufactured in USA as opposed to Japan. So, like, all of that comes into play. So, yeah, it's cool for the new guys. For us, it's just like, man, just leave it alone. That's how I feel about it. But personally, the only thing that I kind of liked about this release, the re-release, was the fact that they did the hoodies. Mm-hmm. That's something different that hasn't been done. They didn't do that the first season. So, like, that's cool. If they just did it as hoodies, I would have been like, yo, that's dope. Like, keep it up, like, but the fact that they did the tees again, it's like, oh man, now the people that have the originals, it's like you get these people that are thinking it's the re-release. Like, oh wait, they did this before. There's the people that didn't even know that this is a re-release. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of fucks that whole thing up, and it just personally outside looking in, it's kind of like slightly tarnishing the legacy a bit. Because it's like, if you're gonna do something again, why not make it better than the first time you did it? You know? And it's definitely not better than the first. So the hoodies is cool. I feel the same way about the re-release of the Season 0 brown tee.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that they did the shirt, but the hoodie is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, that's cool because it hasn't been done before, especially in that colorway. So, yeah, that's how I feel about re-releases, especially specifically the new stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Latest.
Yeah, I kind of get you with that. As you say, you know, if you're gonna go back to a classic and try and reimagine it or copy it or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, then yeah, you'd want to see it be done in a better way, ideally. But again, you know, I guess they have to kind of balance out the cost and where they, you know, what their price points are and what the market is like at the moment and what they're, yeah, and there are different brands. Yeah, there are different brands nowadays compared to season one. You see
what it first was.
Yeah, season one there was, you know, a bunch of us that, you know, there weren't that many releases. It was kind of quite a small community of people that was really into it. It was very, very niche. And they released really limited quantities, and you know they knew people would queue to get them, and you know they would resell at high prices. Now, you know they don't necessarily want that. They want people to be able to, you know, impulse purchase these things, so the price point has to be lower. You know, you go to the BBC store, you go to the Bape store, you go to any of those stores around there, and they're generally not older people. I know I'm older than you. But they're not generally people of my kind of age that were around when the first releases came out. They are generally teenagers,
like
people
60, like 15 to like 25 type shit.
Yeah,
like
exactly, yeah. And they don't necessarily have the disposable income to spend $500 or $600 on a t-shirt, and nor would they probably want to either. So, you know, there's a balancing act to
and I totally get that aspect as far as pricing goes, and the only way to get to that price point is to cut manufacturing costs, and also, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of just give up other practices that they had in the past to kind of just, you know, make things cheaper and affordable and realistic for them to do. So like I totally get that. It's unfortunate for, like, you know, the sake of like graphic design and, like, you know, the way everything was made before with attention to detail. But, you know, that time has passed. Nothing's going to stay the same. Everything changes. So it is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yo, just a side note, because I'm just thinking about it, too. I'm like, damn, like, what could they have done to make this, like, Swarovski release better? The T-shirt specifically, because the hoodie is the hoodie. They didn't do that before. That's new.
Yeah.
But the T-shirt, the ice cream one, I feel like they could have. It might have been, well, not might have. It definitely would have been more expensive to do. But I feel like if they were to, okay, you see how, hold on, give me a second here. I'm going to show you an example on the screen. Hold on. All right, you see how this is the original comment, right? Season 1.
I've got one of them in the wardrobe as well. Yep.
Yeah, this is a classic right here. So the only difference is this is the one that doesn't have the cherry on top. But this is an example of what the front is. The outline of this was Swarovski, right? What they could have done for the new one is have this part on the back of the shirt in Swarovski as well. Like, that would have been dope to see, because that hasn't been done before. Like, the Swarovski originals was just the front. They didn't have, though the Coleman design, the tees had this on the back. The Swarovski was the only Coleman that didn't have that at the time. So doing this again like this on the new Swarovskis, that would have been dope. But of course, it would have cost them a bit too much money, and that's probably why they didn't do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That was an option. Like, maybe we could do this, but it's gonna cost too much, and then the price, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I just feel like that would have been something dope to see, because it's a classic design, but that hasn't been done in that way, so it's different, you know.
So, as people listening, what you're referring to is, you've got the cone man on the front, as we know, but then on the back, just to the side at the bottom, there's a fairly large ice cream logo there as well.
It's like a melting logo, yeah.
Yeah. So, you're referring to, you were showing me on the screen, that kind of
I forgot this is just the audio. I gotta
exactly, yeah.
I gotta describe that. My bad.
Everyone else has to listen, yeah.
Yeah. So the back is basically what Penny just said. It's just like the melting logo that says ice cream inside, like the melting ice cream on the back of the shirt. So the bottom left of the shirt, that's where like the print is.
So obviously this release, we've got plain white and black and t-shirts and hoodies, and then obviously the clear kind of Swarovski crystals. What I would like to have seen, and what I actually thought they would probably do as well, is inject some color into it. So again, those that listen to the podcast probably know, hopefully follow Bust Down Tees. So Annalise and Sim as well. Hopefully they will be on this podcast soon. So keep listening for that. But they've obviously been doing their kind of custom Swarovski BBC tees now for a while, and they've had the OG logo with the re-releases, the running dog. Was there one other one as well? I can't remember, but they've had a couple.
But they did the human made tee. It was the human made tee
yes,
that had
that's
the
right. Yes,
legal chains
with the chains on. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, with that kind of happening recently, and obviously with their kind of links to BBC as well, I would have thought that BBC would have followed suit and gone down that route and actually done something similar to what they're doing.
I was surprised to not see that, actually. You're right. Word.
Yeah, because those Cone Man logos on the originals, they're all the different colorways, and the brand itself, especially around that time, those early days, was all about the colors
and
how they
flamboyant style,
Exactly. So I would love to have seen some of those colors from the original logos kind of brought into the
Swarovski design, you mean, right? Like
yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I would like to do, especially if you're just using plain white and plain black t-shirts and hoodies. Yeah. Even a small amount of color, like a stripe of blue, or just a red cherry or something like that, would have really, I think, made
subtle,
it pop. Yeah, made it look really good.
Just I think. I totally agree with that. And also, they could have just done different colorways.
Exactly, yeah.
Like of the actual shirts and the hoodies, that would have been dope to see too. Like pastel kind of colorways that suit ice cream,
Definitely, yeah. I was quite surprised it was limited to those two colors, and not surprised it was limited to the two designs. But
I feel like the ice cream one was only on white tees.
Yes.
And then the black
Arch
one,
logo was black.
It was on the black, I didn't understand why they did that like that instead of having both for each design, black and white for each design, because that's how it originally was.
Exactly, yeah, and that's one of the reasons I didn't end up getting one of the Cone Man tees, because I probably would have got one.
Yeah, because you would have got the black one.
If it was a black one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you, man. I would have definitely went for the black one too. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're gonna save it for another drop, another collection, perhaps. I don't know.
I hope so, and I would imagine so. The fact that this was kind of so limited, it almost seems like they were
just testing water.
Just testing the water, exactly. Yes, and just seeing what the kind of feedback was, whether people were still interested in this, and if so, then maybe bring out some different colorways or different designs or whatever it may be. But for those listening, for those that do like the Swarovski stuff, and personally I do like it. Again, I'm with you in terms of my feelings about the re-releasing of designs. But if you didn't get to cop any of these because they were a US release only, we didn't see them in Europe or in Japan, I would just say keep your eye, if you're in Europe at least, keep your eyes peeled, because there will be something new and different coming at some point in the near future. That's all I will say for now. But if you like the Swarovski, you didn't get to cop one, just keep your eyes on the BBC EU Instagram and website, and there may be something there at some point soon. What else have we got recently? Oh yes, we saw the new Digipack NMD hues in blue.
I actually have no idea what that is. I'm about to look that up right now. Yeah, when it comes to those, like I'm like out the loop. It's not really like my cup of tea.
You're not into those at all.
Nah. What's it called? Say it again. Say the name.
So it's the NMD hues. I think they're probably still on the BBC website, and the new designs were the Digipack. So based on the Digicamo that they used to use. So we saw a blue and a green release, and then a red version for friends and family, from what I can tell. I know a lot of people that listen to this. They generally like the NMDs and the hue stuff. Me personally, with this release, I've passed up on this release. To me, the kind of Digipack design looks too much like plaid, and it's even referred to as plaid as well, I think, in the marketing. And I do not like anything with a plaid design on it, whether it's shoes, t-shirts, shirts, whatever it may be. I really don't like a plaid design, so I have to say I passed on these. And obviously you have no interest in them anyway, so you haven't got them either.
I'm just trying to find a picture of them right now, actually. But you said plaid, though. I do remember seeing some shoes that had plaid on it. Like, it's on the BBC Instagram, no?
That's it, yeah.
Maybe that's where I should look.
Yeah, it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago that they came out.
And it says Heart and Mind on it?
Yeah, I think those are the ones, yeah.
This shit right here?
That's the ones, yep, that you're showing me there, yep.
So this is the Digipack?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got the design there, which looks a bit like plaid, but it's based off of the Digicamo design that they've used a few times.
That's ironic as shit. And this was May 3rd. This is around the time I just got this. I've always wanted this. Hold on a sec.
This is where I'm waiting to see what appears on the screen.
I know you don't even really like plaid. You kind of just said that, but I'm going to show you anyways.
Yeah, but this is the difference. That is, so the thing that is being held up is, one of the Digipack shirts, the pink one with the big kind of astronaut on the arm. That's it, yeah. Classic, this is the kind of pink and black version. There's also, there was a red version, wasn't there, of that? And
and there's a blue one. There's a green one, I believe.
Yeah, so this is what the shoes are based off. See, the shirts themselves, they don't look like plaid. That actually looks like a kind of Digicamo design.
Yeah, because it's like spaced out kind of.
Exactly, it looks.
But on the shoes, it definitely does look plaid because it's like a bit closer and shit. It's not like a big canvas.
Exactly, yeah, and I think even BBC, I think in some places or some of the resellers refer to them as plaid as well, and I'm just not a fan personally. Yeah,
I definitely I'm on the same side of the fence as you right now. Still, I can't. I'm looking at them as I'm talking to you, and it's like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's not it.
And I have to say, I'm probably giving up on the NMD hues as well. I undead stocked a pair.
So wait, is that the silhouette of the shoe? Like that's what it's called, the hues?
Yeah.
Like this one right here. So these are the NMD hues.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we had a sneaker convention here in Helsinki a couple of weeks back. I undead stocked the BBC in-store exclusives from last year. So that's the kind of pink and navy blue striped ones with the Japanese text on. Damn, they hurt my feet. This is what I find every time I wear the NMDs. They really hurt my feet. So
not much support in them, eh?
I think there's a lot of support. It's just the shape of my feet just do not suit them at all.
I see.
And they're also, I know other people have had this problem as well. They're a nightmare to actually get on in the first place because they have the new kind of, there's no ankle support there at all. It's just kind of material. There's just a hole to get your foot through. So you're kind of trying to force them on, which I don't really like anyway. And then, when I'm walking in them, they're not really that comfy for me. So, unless there's some, really cool new crazy designs that come out in the coming months or years, I think I'll be giving up on the NMDs for now. I think I will probably keep buying the the tennis shoes, though, if we see more of those, because I think those are potentially the comfiest shoes I own out of the crazy amount of shoes that I've got now. So if we see more of those in the near future, then I'll probably buy more of those. But I think I've probably got 20 pairs to undead stock this summer anyway.
Yeah, you're pretty much set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got shoes for years. But I don't actually know anybody that's actually bought a pair of these new NMDs. And also when I looked...
The Digipack?
Yeah, and also when I looked at the BBC EU site a couple of days ago, so we're probably, 2 weeks after release, nearly 3 weeks after release, they still had had pretty much every size available, I think.
Yeah, because usually stuff like that sells out like damn near instantly, you know? Because it's pretty like hype collection, the hues.
Yeah, well, it was originally. Now I think that's starting to tail off a little bit. Yeah. So hopefully we're going to start seeing a bit more space in between the releases, and they're not going to keep, flooding the market as they have done the last kind of couple of years.
See, now there was what was it? It was when King did the giveaway challenge, the one that you won. Do you remember that? And one of the challenges was to take a picture wearing or with the new, at the time it was like one of the latest Pharrell Adidas releases, and like you had to be wearing a pair of ice creams too.
Okay.
Can you
vaguely remember? Yeah.
It was like a pastel kind of like color collection. There's like a lime green, like pink, like...
I'm trying to think. It was probably back then, it was probably the tennis hues, I imagine.
I think that's what it was, the tennis hues.
Yeah.
It had the 3 stripes and said Pharrell Williams on the back.
Yeah, that'd be the tennis hues,
Yeah. So that time, that was actually the first time I ever like tried on that style of shoe.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable as shit. Like, it's really fucking comfortable. But... me personally, it's like not my style of shoe. Like, I've always been like, I don't know. I guess they're not even necessarily like I guess you could call them sporty shoes. I don't know, like the Air Force One silhouette, like Babesters.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of shoe would you call that? It's like
I don't know how you'd categorize it, but yeah.
But it's just like the overall aesthetic of the shoe. Like, it's not like super thin material, like a mesh kind of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like shoes like that. Like, I wish that, with this whole Pharrell Adidas thing, they would try and, like, fuck with a shoe that's, like, more durable. You know what I'm saying? That just, like, it feels like a shoe. Like, you don't feel like you're wearing socks, kind of, like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see some dope shit like that.
You may be pleasantly surprised in the near future. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I see. Quick question. How do you feel about the Chanel Pharrells? Have you seen the shoes that they did?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of them. Yeah, not in person. I know a few people that went to kind of try and cop a few bits, and crazy prices, and everything sold out straight away, even at the obscene prices they were.
Damn, I can imagine. Sheesh.
Yeah, they were. If I remember right, they were like a sort of Stan Smith sort of silhouette, weren't they?
It reminded me so much of the boutiques.
Yes.
Like, in that little clip he had, like, from a distance, I thought he was wearing boutiques. I'm like, holy fuck, no way. And I got the video and, like, freeze framed it and shit, and, like, zoomed in. I'm like, oh no, this is the new shit. And then they came out with pictures in their stories, like, the day after. I'm like, holy fuck, it's the new shit. And it just I like the silhouette. I actually like those, but man, I ain't got that kind of money to pay for shoes, man. Like, one pair of shoes, nah, man. That's insane. Yeah. That's insane. But they're cool. I wouldn't mind having a pair if I could afford it,
Yeah, they were very nice, but yeah, it was not a commercial release by Chanel at all. It was a proper high-end Chanel release. And we're talking, I can't remember the prices that I was told, but I think like the jumpers and
the retail
hoodies were in the thousands, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And
crazy.
The shoes, if I can remember correctly, the retail on the shoes was $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah,
around there, or that might have been resale. I don't know, but regardless, it's definitely not like 3 digits.
Yeah, it's a real high-end kind of capsule collection, not trying to appeal to the likes of us, basically, who are just kind of casual Pharrell fans or fashion fans.
Yeah,
this is really going at Chanel's kind of high-end target audience. And like I say, they seem to sell out, at least in Paris, they sold out pretty much everything straight away. So there is obviously a need and a want for it amongst the people that have the crazy amounts of money to go and buy it. What else have we had the last couple of weeks? We've had, there's something in the Water Festival, Pharrell's inaugural festival down in Virginia Beach. This looked crazy. When this podcast comes out, it will say in the title and in the description whether this has been included or not, but there will be a review of the festival coming from Mr. King of Creams himself, David Travis, and his good friend Ivory, who both went down there thanks to their connections in the industry. When you sell expensive shoes to famous people, you get invited to nice events like this. So I think they had artist passes for the weekend. So they were down there schmoozing with all of the celebrities, all of the artists, and they are gonna have a chat about that. So I will either append that to the end of this podcast, or it will come out as an episode probably next week at some point. But it seemed to go really, really well.
I'm looking forward to that episode, actually.
So for those that didn't go and weren't kind of away, I think the first night was rained off, wasn't it? There was some kind of crazy,
I heard about that.
Crazy storm down there.
It's unfortunate.
And this is what I kind of really like about this festival and the whole thing behind it. If this was, let's just say, if this was in the UK and this was like a big 3-day festival, all these huge artists, people have paid hundreds and hundreds of pounds to kind of go to it, travelled there. If one of the nights was rained off, people would be going apeshit crazy about it and complaining, and all you would see is just negative press and negative comments about it. With this, when it was rained off, they were posting like safety alerts and stuff like that. All of the comments I saw from people that were there and people that were kind of watching and following it via the likes of Instagram was nothing but positive. It was nothing but, we completely understand. We'd rather be kind of kept safe and all that kind of thing than, be stood out on a beach when it's pouring rain and there's thunder and lightning and whatnot. So just a completely different vibe, I think, to what you would normally get at a music festival of that kind of proportion. And that's what I think made it kind of so popular and why everyone sort of seems to have had a really, really great time there. Just this kind of great vibe. People just so happy that, Virginia Beach has now got this event, which hopefully they'll do every year.
Annually, yeah.
Yeah, and
I hope so too, man. Shit. That's like a big deal. Like a big deal. Most definitely.
And you look at the lineup there, and as soon as you had N.E.R.D. / Pharrell and Friends, that and Friends bit in brackets, when that's Pharrell,
I already knew it was gonna be like, all
right. He could literally pick anyone from the world of music, and they're gonna turn up, aren't they? And they did, basically. You had Pusha there, you had Timbaland, you had Missy, you had Snoop.
Man. What I really like, though, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but like, it was so good to see, like, because all of them are from Virginia and they have lots of history together, like Pharrell, Pushing them, Chad, fucking Timbaland, Missy, like seeing all those guys together. I think Magoo was even there too, no?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, just seeing all of them together, just like wow, like it was really like it's just such a good thing to see, And I caught a bit of the Other Tone podcast that they did, and them talking about like each other's productions, Tim and P. Man, that's just crazy to witness. Even though like I wasn't there, watching that felt like I was there, and it's just like fuck, this is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. And I really hope, we saw lots of clips and stuff of it. I really hope they release some kind of video of either the main show or something over the course of a couple of days would be really,
That's
really cool.
actually what I was looking forward to. I didn't even know the other shit happened until like a couple of days ago. I'm like, whoa, they did this too? Like, I thought it was just performances and shit. So I was just like, damn, I'm not even going to try and look for like the snippets on Instagram and stuff. I'm gonna wait till like the full set is just online, like to watch in like high quality, So
yeah,
I really hope they do that as well. Yeah. for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, as you just mentioned, Othertone. So the episode of Othertone came out yesterday, which they recorded during the festival. So yeah, there's Pharrell, Chad, Timbaland, and Teddy Riley as well.
Man, legend.
Yeah, definitely. With Scott Venner there, kind of hosting it. There is a kind of short video on YouTube, which is only about 17 minutes, I think. But if you actually go to Apple Music, then you can get kind of the full version, which I think is about an hour 20 or something. Obviously not the video, it's only the audio, which again is a bit weird and a bit annoying. I would like to have seen a video of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got a short 17-minute video, and then the audio version is available if you go kind of look that up. So yeah, definitely check that out and listen to them in conversation. And yeah, hopefully at some point we will get a full version of the kind of sets that happened there. And because he brought out Jay-Z and Beyonce was there and.
Man.
Like I say, when it comes to, it's Pharrell and friends, he can just get on his phone and he can just pull in anybody.
Literally, because he's worked with damn near everybody over the years, man. You name an artist, he's worked with them. Whether it be, like, him writing for them or, like, production or just featuring on a song.
Yeah.
He did that, man.
And obviously, as part of all of his shows and the N.E.R.D shows, they have that little kind of medley and
part. Yeah, I've caught one of that.
At the start of the last third, normally, where you get a few of the tracks. Obviously, in this instance, he brings out the people he does that medley of. So, let's say you had Snoop, you had Busta, you had Diddy.
Yeah. Man.
Jay came out. Just crazy.
And then that was like back to back too, so like that's just like what the fuck.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Man, I really hope they make that an annual thing, man. Like the world needs that, man. Fuck hip hop. The world needs that, like.
Yeah, definitely. I know they're definitely trying to, and I think this went really well. Like I said, I've seen nothing but kind of positive reviews and feedback of it. So, and I think all of kind of Virginia Beach kind of embraced it and was really into it as well. They did a big kind of pop-up church service. They had a lot of local businesses there. Obviously like BBC IceCream were there as well with their merch for the thing. You had Cactus Plant Flea Market doing merchandise as well. As well as lots of local businesses, food and merch and stuff like that. So hopefully it had a real positive impact on the kind of area and the community, and they try and get it done.
I heard that it did. I heard that it really did have a positive impact on like Virginia Beach, like yeah.
And that's the thing, festivals big festivals like that can go one way or the other. They can be an absolute shit fest where it's just thousands of drunken people. Making a mess, causing problems, flooding and inundating a kind of town that isn't used to it. Or they can hopefully, be like this is and be a real kind of positive impact, and all of the community kind of gets behind it and wants to enjoy it. And
yeah, I heard there's lots of like local businesses that were involved. They're making lots of like money and stuff, and I could imagine like the hotels out there is probably crazy too.
Yeah, they were. I know when I was looking at tickets, myself and a couple other people looked at hotels and everything was kind of booked out. Yeah. I know when Dave, I think he drove down there like the madman he is, and he was staying kind of outside of town because he couldn't get anything nearby. So I know he had like I think a bit of a drive-in each day. So, but yeah, I'm sure he will talk about that I think he recorded last night, hopefully. So, as in when he sends me the audio, I will, as I say, either add it to the end of this podcast or it'll go up in a week or two where he talks about his whole experience and what he thought about it and what he saw and what he did and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
That must have been quite the experience, bro.
Yeah, and I'm gutted.
That's like a dream, yeah. That's like a dream, for real. Like, just thinking about it is like, wow. Because, it's crazy because there's probably a few people out there, I don't know, not everyone does this, but, like, I have, like, this fucking, cause, like, I'm a huge Pharrell stan. Like, aside from, like, the clothes and all of that shit, like, it started with the music, specifically Pharrell, Neptunes, N.E.R.D, like, you know what I'm saying? So the whole Star Trek shit. So I have this playlist. It's like divided amongst like 3 different playlists at this time, because that's a long story. I'll get into that later. But this phone right here has. I gotta scroll to the bottom of this. This one has 500 songs that are like all produced, written by, and or featuring Pharrell or Chad, right? And then I have another one on this phone that has, and it's all different songs. They're not like duplicates and shit. This one has 274. Then I have a Spotify playlist that has like close to 1,000 and something. I don't know. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that I always have this music playing like daily, amongst other things that I listen to. But like it's mainly this stuff. Like, cause I've always, it's like I grew up on it. It's like an era that like I'm really like you know what I'm saying. Like I'm really like in that era. So like, yeah, man, I love the music, the aesthetic, the meaning behind it. Like, you know what I'm saying, how it motivates me, how it makes me like, deal with certain emotions and shit. And it's just like really positive vibes to just have, like, even playing subtly like throughout your day and shit. But yeah, like just for a person like me and having that like daily in my life and going to a festival like that, that's literally like a dream. It's like the music is living in front of you, like, you know what I mean? Like that's just like crazy to witness. I can only imagine that to be like, wow. So I really hope they make it an annual thing so I can get the chance to, you know what I'm saying, pop up to one of those and just live that out.
Yeah, definitely. If they do make it an annual thing, then yeah, I think myself and Dave and a few other people have already chatted about it. We'll have to try and do an Otherz kind of meet up and recording of some kind,
yeah.
and just get a whole bunch of us down there and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's move on then. Let's get on to you. Let's talk about you. This is your time. Let's start with the clothes, and then we'll kind of get on to the music and stuff. Right. You did just kind of touch on there that you've been into the music itself for a long time, as well as the clothes. I think most people on Instagram will know you because of your, not just kind of the buying and selling, but also your kind of large personal collection of rarities and things like that. So how did you kind of first get started in the collecting of it all?
All right, well, I'll just like kind of give you like this little timeline, so like how it really like where it all like stemmed from. So as I mentioned prior, just like it was the music that I was really into. I was super like into Pharrell's production specifically at the time, because he didn't have much of like solo music, but it was a lot of the Neptunes production that I knew Pharrell. I didn't know much about Chad. For a while, I didn't even know Chad was like involved. Like I thought it was just Pharrell, and then I'm like, oh, this guy does it with him too. Like this is so dope, and he's Filipino. That's amazing, because like at that time I grew up around lots of Filipinos. Like a lot of my best friends were Filipinos. I'm like, oh wow, there's like a famous Filipino guy that makes this like really dope ass hip hop music and shit. You know what I'm saying? So like that was a cool thing for me too. But yeah, it just stemmed from all of that. And one day I turned on, I believe it was BET. I believe it was BET. I was like 11 years old. I'm watching BET, and the front video comes on. I'm like, wow, this is like the first time I'm hearing the song, everything. And I'm like, this is the guy. Like, okay, like he has a song now, like he's singing. Like I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm taking it in. I'm like, really, like this is so dope. Like it's interesting, right? So I'm just like captivated by the visuals, and I'm like noticing this shirt that he's wearing. I'm like, what the hell is BBC? Like I'm trying to like make it out, because like he's moving and shit, right? And I read it, it's Billionaire Boys Club, and I see like other like subtle placements of the logos throughout the video, because like I'm very like I'm very like I guess analytical of like when it comes to shit like that. I'm really like I'm big on attention to detail. So I'm watching these things. I'm like, oh, there's that logo again in the corner, and then the shots where they show the it's like the little cupboards that have the folded up clothes and the shoes in them. Like I know there's different pairs of like Bapes and shit, but I just saw these shoes that had stars. I didn't know they were Bapes. So I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like those Nikes have stars. Like what the fuck is that? Like And I saw the folded up BBC tees. And then I see this Asian guy with this shirt that says a bathing ape. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? And his hat said bathing ape. I'm like, yo, that's kind of cool. Like the way the letters and the logo looks. So after that, I Googled both of them. I typed it in Google. I'm like, Billionaire Boys Club. I couldn't really find anything. I'm like, all right, whatever. Bathing Ape. And then I find the Bape website, but it's in Japanese. Because they didn't have Bape US at the time. Like, it wasn't even a thing. This is 2003. So I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Like, I'm trying to, like, I'm just clicking shit. Because I didn't have a translator. I didn't have, like, you know, none of those built-in, like, apps into the internet to kind of just, you know, warp everything into English or whatever. So I'm just clicking random shit, and it's just bringing me to different pages. And I'm seeing some of the clothes and the layouts, and they had this song that was playing on the website. It's like a beat. It's like on loop and shit. I'm like, what? This is so cool, but like, why is it like Like what Japan? Like, is this Japanese? I didn't know what it was. It just wasn't like, you know, I just knew it was some sort of Asian language, you know. And it just like, yeah, I'm just taking it all in. I'm like, wow, this is really, really dope. So I just started to follow it since then. You know what I'm saying? So then came, I guess you could say, like a couple years later. I want to say like maybe 2005. Because I was following it in between, and then I heard about the release. Like, I found out that the BBC thing was was like a partnership basically between Pharrell and the Nigo guy that I saw in the video. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. Cause I'm seeing pictures in like these blog posts and stuff like that, right? So I'm like, oh, that's the guy that was in the video. We're in the Bape thing. Like, I put two and two together. I'm like, oh, that's him. So oh, they had this brand together. That's amazing because I like this brand already. Like, so what? This is Pharrell's brand too. This is even better. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just really into it. I'm following it. And then I see that they're doing shoes. I'm like, wow, these shoes looks like they're so cool. Like, the box looks like ice cream. Like, what the? Like, you know, it's just, imagine being like 11, 12, and then just like all of these things are like popping up. It's just like this new hype. But it's like not everyone knows about it. Like, it's just like me and maybe like two of my friends knew because I told them. And they're like, yo, this is dope. So they were like into it because of me, but like they're not super like, you know, like as intrigued and like really like into it as I was. Like, they kind of like just appreciate it for what it was, but they're not like, yo, I need to have this. Like, I need to find out more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I was. I'm like, how do I get my hands on this shit? Then I see the prices. I'm like, oh my God. Like, they make this just for famous people. There's no way I'm going to buy this ever in life. Like, what the fuck? Like, they made this for people like them. I swear, like, this brand was just made for famous people. Like, you got to be rich and famous to be able to buy it. Like, that's like, what I was thinking as a kid. So I'm like, how the fuck am I going to afford this stuff? And then, I think 2006, fast forward to 2006, they have, well, around that time, season 2 of BBC IceCream. But there's this boutique around the way, around by where I live in downtown Toronto. It's called Livestock. And it's the only boutique in Canada that just so happened to have an account with BBC IceCream and was carrying their earliest seasons, well, current seasons, in store. So when I found that out, I was like, holy shit, because like I'm a super fan, right? So I'm always on the website. I'm always looking at the new releases, and like I did this thing where I would always fill up my cart and like pretend to check out. It's like, all right, like, you know, and just kind of like, it was weird. I was a little kid just like on the site, just like really drooling over all of this shit. Like, man, one day I'm gonna get this stuff. Like, you know, one day. So yeah, in that the website there was a part where they show the retailers. So I'm looking to see if, like, you know, like, when are we going to get something in Canada? Like, it was showing everywhere but Canada. And then all of a sudden it says Livestock. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, that's up the street. Like, what? So I ran to the store, and I just seen the shit in front of me. I was like, holy fuck. Like, this is amazing. I got to, like, feel it, like, the quality. I noticed the tag was, like, this, like, suede material, and it was, like, a flag almost. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've never seen this on clothes before. It was so, like, high quality. At that time, it literally was a luxury streetwear brand. This shit was insane. So I'm just seeing this stuff, and I made it like a ritual of mine to like visit the store every chance I got. So like sometime before, like if I was one of those days where like I started class late, cause you know what I'm saying, like I kind of skipped a few periods or whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm just young in high school and shit. At this time, I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Sometimes I would skip school to just go to the store and like just hang out with my friends, play basketball, then go to the store and just look at the clothes and shit, right? So I'll do that, and then sometimes I visit them after school. So it's just like a thing I always did. I was just like into it, super, super into it. But then I started to get this, I had this job downtown at like, what was it called? Johnny Rockets. I saved like my first 2 paychecks and bought a shirt from Livestock. The shirts were like, I think there was like basically like 200 Canadian dollars. So
Do you
like
remember which design it was?
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that. I'm just trying to remember the exact amount, but it was yeah, it was about 200 Canadian. So I bought a shirt, and I forgot what else I bought. It wasn't anything BBC IceCream, but I think I bought a G-Shock or some shit like that. I bought something. But anyways, it was I remember for sure I got a black BBC IceCream tee. It was the money rolls. There's the one that has like the different money rolls on it. There's like a yellow and a blue one.
Yeah.
And on the back it has the Arch logo that says Billionaire Boys Club. That was the first shirt I ever bought. And I ruined it, and I'm so like pissed that I did that over the years because I had it for a very long time and I wore it every chance I had. Like, fuck it, I'm putting this shirt on. I paid $200 for this shirt. Like, I wore it with pride. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I regret not cherishing it, but yeah, hopefully one day I'm gonna come across that again. But yeah, it started with that. So that was my first like official piece was BBC Money Rolls tee, and yeah, I didn't really spend too much time trying to save up more money to like get the stuff like then, because there's a lot of shit that was going on in my life at the time. I'm like, I can't just keep spending $200 on shirts. Like, I want to get a hoodie next, and that's like $500. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot for me right now. I can't like do that. I got other things to like take care of and try to like work towards. And then, you know what I'm saying, I started to get into music and stuff at the time. But that's a whole nother other story. But anyways, yeah, I started recollecting. Like, when I officially jumped back into it, I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna really like get all the shit I ever wanted as a kid. Was 2014, and that started with one day I was just like outside smoking and shit. I'm like, cause I was really into vintage, like just everything vintage. I was into like vintage starter, Tommy Hilfiger, like polo. Like, I was really like on my 90s kind of shit like at the time, right? So I was getting a lot of that shit off of eBay and like local thrift shops, etc. And I'm on eBay looking for shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't I look for like some old ice cream shit? I'm here looking for all these old other brands. Why don't I look to see if that's on eBay? And I'm like, I've never done that before on eBay. Like, I always go on eBay to look for like 5 specific things. It's one of those 5 brands I mentioned, like vintage, right? So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna look for some vintage BBC IceCream, vintage bait. Boom. Type that shit in, and I just started seeing like all like the early season stuff. I'm like, wow, this is insane. Like, it's actually here. Fuck it. I'm gonna start getting it. And that's how I started collecting. It was basically off eBay. And then I started like posting shit on Instagram. As I was getting it, I'm like wearing it in my pictures and shit. And like, that's how I started coming in contact with like people like yourself and King of Creams and like, you know, like George, like a bunch of other people on Instagram that's really in that BBC IceCream community. And I started sharing knowledge with like, and information with certain people, and like, you know, talking about our collections, etc. And that's how I started getting more pieces through trades. And then I meet people like overseas that are really like kind of out the game, and they have a lot of shit just laying around. Like, hey, I see that you're interested in this stuff. Like, you wear a lot of this stuff. Like, I got this shit laying around. Like, it kind of means nothing to me now. Like, I'll give it to you for this much, whatever. Boom. Like, that's how I kind of like expanded my personal collection. And yeah, that just like it kept like, it was like a snowball effect, and it just fucking tumbled into where it is now. It's just like ridiculous. But yeah, it stemmed through that music video, man. Seeing Frenton all the way down to fucking seeing the shit in person in my city, you know what I'm saying? And then yeah, finally having that epiphany one day to fucking look for the shit on eBay, and then it turned into this crazy mess. Yeah, it literally is a crazy mess, man. Look at this shit. It's a crazy mess.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so for those listening, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
seeing what goes on in the background. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm similar as well. I have luckily a kind of big walk-in closet in the apartment, and that is literally the whole thing is just full of BBC IceCream stuff.
Yeah, I could imagine, bro.
It's yeah, getting slightly ridiculous. So time to lay off it a little bit at least.
And it's like every chance, like every day, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna chill. I'm not gonna buy no more shit because I don't need any. It's not like I need any of this stuff. It's like a really strong desire. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's very tempting. It's like I don't need this, but I really want it. It's like I can get it right now if I want to, but it's like, do I need to get it? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like sometimes I'll be like, fuck it, I'm not getting it. Give someone else the chance. And then I end up regretting this shit. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna find something, and I find some shit. I'm like, fuck, now it's just like there's more shit taking up space and more laundry to do. Cause I hand wash all of my stuff, so it's a really big hassle to like maintain this fucking ridiculous collection. So yeah,
I can imagine.
I'm trying to chill, man. I'm trying to chill.
I feel the pain. I feel it. So out of all of the bits that you've got there right now, what's your personal favourite piece that you own?
Personal favorite. It's a tough one, but right now I actually want to say this Star Trek jacket. The season, I think this was season 2 or 1, one of the two. If it's not this, it's the black Swarovski Coman, the original. I have the black one. It's in there somewhere. But yeah, that one, and probably if we're talking just BBC IceCream, it's either this, the Star Trek jacket, the Coman, Swarovski Coman, or I want to say my velour tracksuit. If not, my running dog bucket hat, the white one. It's a lot of shit, man. Cause
Yeah,
it's like
always
it's
hard to
stuff that
choose, yeah.
yeah, there's stuff that like I always wanted as a kid, and the stuff like I specifically had in that fake shopping cart that I had. You know, I'm
Yeah.
trying to like pretend to check out. There's a lot of that stuff that I have now, so it's like I'm really happy to have them, and they're a lot of my favorite pieces. But it's really hard to like pick,
Just pick
one
one, yeah.
single. Yeah, so I have like a group of favorites, but I can't really pick one. It's really tough, man.
And what's your grail piece? What's one item that you don't have that you'd really like? You'd really like in the collection. If you saw it on eBay or if you saw it on Instagram, you'd be like, "Yep, instant purchase."
For BBC IceCream,
Yeah.
I would say the black boutiques, the black D&D boutiques
Okay.
with the red and blue D&D, or the yellow running dog full zip hoodie.
I was never a fan of that all over running dog print, I have to say.
Yeah, that's one of the first like things I actually like really wanted, and I was like I couldn't afford it. They had that in store at Livestock, and the shit was like I think 6 something Canadian.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's insane to even think at that time being like 14 and shit. It was insane to even think of like paying $600 for a fucking sweater. Like I couldn't even like beg my mom to like, you know what I'm saying, like lend me some change or something. Like, mom, can you pay for this much and then I'll try and work towards the rest or da da da. Like I couldn't. I tried all that shit as a kid and like nah. My mom was like, you're ridiculous. No, this is one sweater. It's not like you're trying to get like 5 of them or something. Like, you know, like that's kind of more understandable. But one sweater for $600 Canadian, like nah, I couldn't.
No, I'm a few years older than you, and I think I was working by the time BBC kind of came out.
Yeah.
And I used to travel up to London to kind of queue up and buy pieces and stuff at the one boutique in the UK that had them. But even as someone that used to work for, full time for a living,
Yeah.
handing over that amount of money for a polo shirt or a t-shirt or whatever, even then I'd be, oh, what the fuck am I doing? Like, is this
like
really worth it? Is it?
Yeah, man. You gotta have those conversations with yourself. It's like, fuck, like, should I?
But I said
do
all
it?
this
Like,
back
do I have
then.
to?
Yeah, I said all this back then, and I say it to myself constantly now, and I'm still sat here rebuying all of that stuff from back then for double the price. So
it's like, ah, fuck. Here we go again.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
So if
Really is
people
tough.
if people want to kind of follow your collection and potentially purchase bits from you, that's on the OG Vault account. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So the OG Vault is just like my my shop basically, where I just sell like specifically vintage BBC IceCream and vintage bait products and stuff.
All right, we'll put a link in the show notes to that, and then you also
And that's like all stuff that's like separate from my personal collection. I might post some of my personal collection, but just as like gallery. You know what I'm saying? They're not necessarily for sale, but a lot of the stuff I do post is for sales. But that's separate from my personal collection. I don't really like wear the stuff that's for sale.
Yeah.
Just for people like out there trying to like understand it, because a lot of people see my collection and they think that's the OG Vault, like what's on the page, and that's not the case. It's completely separate.
Yeah, and then what I like about your selling style, whatever it might be, is as you always say, communication is key.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that in someone that buys and sells stuff that you know what the value of something is. It has a price, but you're always open to discussions and offers.
Yeah.
As long as they're not stupid,
Always.
obviously. So I think myself and other people that follow you kind of appreciate that, and certainly the people that buy from you, I'm sure, appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
And also you also drop a bit of knowledge in terms of Bape and BBC and IceCream on your other account, which is History Vault.
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, if you want to know some of the origins of Bape and BBC and IceCream, or things that have happened throughout the years, different releases, how and where things were made, all that kind of stuff, then make sure you check out History Vault as well, because there's loads of really interesting posts on there. And even every now and again you'll post something and I'm like, oh shit, even I didn't know that. Well, like, is that true? Is that definitely? And even I get schooled sometimes, and I like to think I know a fair amount about this stuff.
Yeah, and it's like I'm at the end of the day, I'm still a student of all of this stuff. Like, I've been a fan of it for, I think, 16 years now, but like, I don't know everything about these two brands. There's still so much shit that I don't know. So it's like every day I learn shit that I didn't know before. Or it's like I would know something and it's like something attached to that something that I know. It's like, oh, that part too. Like I didn't know they had some sort of correlation, like that kind of sort of stuff. So always learning daily, and I try my best to share it with everyone. And that's basically what I made that page for, just to like share my accumulated knowledge from like over the years and stuff. And just translating a bunch of like the magazines and books that I have from Bape specifically, because BBC IceCream didn't really do any lookbooks like that. So all the Bape stuff comes from like the old magazines that I translate. And yeah, just talking to people like I mentioned before, like different collectors around the world, people that know these kind of things, people that were there with certain people that worked at the stores, etc. And mainly the magazines and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, and shit that I knew as a kid.
And I'm sure, a lot of people that follow you appreciate. I know I appreciate, because I know there's a lot of us out there that have been collecting since day one, still collect, and have a lot of knowledge about this stuff. But I know personally, like, I just can't be bothered to like be posting shit on Instagram all the time. But it's good to know that there's someone out there that's kind of actually dedicated to doing it and helping kind of school a lot of the younger people that are kind of coming into it as well, and kind of dropping all this knowledge on everybody as well, and putting the effort into doing that. So it's definitely appreciated throughout the community. I know that for sure. Let's wrap up because we're going quite long here. We'll wrap up.
How long has it been? Yeah.
Well over an hour so far. Let's see what I can get the edit down to. But let's quickly talk about your music as well, that we've kind of briefly mentioned a couple of times.
All right.
And as you said, you had an album out towards the end of last year, and then you also recently put out the Bape God video. Really nice video, really nice track, I have to say.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, just give us kind of a quick overview of your music, what you've released, what's out at the moment, what you're kind of working on, perhaps, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, for starters, I've been making music like seriously. You know what I'm saying? Taking it serious and stuff since 2009, so about 10 years now. I've been like, putting music out since then and just trying to like make a name for myself in the industry and like local scenes and abroad. I've done lots of shows opening for like big name artists from like Wu-Tang to fucking like D-Block, a lot of like classic OGs, a few new people like Kendrick and A$AP Rocky, that kind of stuff. Juicy J, well, it's OG, but at the time it was kind of like in that resurgence era of like him dropping music again. But just like a whole bunch of stuff in and out of Canada, well, Toronto. And I dropped a few projects during those years, like 2010 to like 14. My last project was out 2014, called Northern Playlist to Get High Music. It was actually inspired by Outkast, Southern Playlist to Cadillac Music. So it was just like a play on that album title, and then it was just sonically just a compilation of like all my earliest musical inspirations balled up into one big project. And fast forward to 2018, because that's when A Bathing Ape in the Hotbox dropped. I was just in that mode of like, just trying to get back onto the scene and like, continue to make a name for myself and network. So I had to like rebrand a bit, but like it was like a natural occurrence. It's not one of those where I had to like sit down and kind of like think of like, okay, like how do I reintroduce myself? Because like the time between my last album, which was Northern Playlist to Get High Music, to the new one was 4 years. And like I mentioned earlier, I started my recollection of BBC IceCream and Babe 2014. So this is like a few months after I dropped the album. I started like my collection and stuff. So like my style kind of changed into what it is now. And a lot of that did go back into the music as well, because like I went to backtrack into all of the shit I used to listen to as a kid in that specific era of like Neptunes and like what was popping in the early 2000s and shit. So that kind of had played a part on that as well for like my musical style and like preference and like my cadence and that type of stuff. It came from all of that because it was like what I was constantly absorbing and digesting like daily. Like I'm always I like every day I was watching like videos and shit, and like I mentioned before, I had the playlist running, and then I'm with my bro Raz making beats, and we're making beats that are like, you know, on that level of like, it's all original production, but like on that level of like Clips, Hell Hath No Fury, kind of like mixed with Cool Kids and a little bit of like, I don't know, I guess you could say like Currency or some shit for the Reed references and stuff like that. So that's kind of like how that new style came to be for my artists like myself, the Six Letter, like in my in my music and shit. That came from that, just like that daily, like, you know, routine of me just digesting the stuff that I was really like into as a kid, turned into that. So boom, then comes the project. I put that out and working on visuals. There's a few more that I got to put out before I jump into this new project. But the new project, I guess I could give you all the titles. So the new project is going to be called Epiphany, but it's going to be spelled with Piff instead of, yeah. So Epiphany. So that's going to be the album. I might drop something in between. You know what I'm saying? I might just drop a little short EP in between before the big boys. So be on the lookout for that. Lots of new music coming. I'm always working on stuff. I'm always writing every chance I get. So there's always going to be music. And a lot of great expansions to the vault coming very soon as well. Trying to, you know, bring that to another level, launch a website, etc. So yeah, just be on the lookout for a lot of vault coming real soon. A lot of vault and a lot of music from the Six Letters. So yeah.
Nice, that's what we like. All right, we'll make sure all the links are in the show notes to your various pages and to where people can obviously stream the music and watch the videos and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, if people listening, if you're a hip hop fan and you haven't for whatever reason come across this stuff, then I highly recommend that you go and check it out. Really good stuff. All right, let's wrap it up there because we're nearly at an hour and a half. You can find the show notes and all of the other episodes and all of our information over at theothers.net. You can find us on Instagram at, what are we? Others Podcast on Instagram? Yes, Others Podcast.
Yeah,
that's
Others
right.
Podcast, yeah.
It's been so long since I last did this, I couldn't remember. Yeah, Others
man.
Podcast, that's it. And you can find me at Steve R. Penny. And where can people find yourself?
You can find me at the Six Letter at THE, the number 6 THLETTER, or my shop account at OGVLT, or at History Vault, which is the word history, HISTORY VLT on Instagram. So one of those 3 accounts, you can hit me up.
Great stuff. And yeah, if you're listening to this in a podcast app, then scroll down and the direct link will be down there in the show notes for you to go and have a look and go and follow, and make sure you do. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. You can, as I say, follow us on all those different places, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and everything else. You probably won't hear Dave's recollection of Something in the Water after this, because this is really, really long. But keep your eyes peeled for that in the coming weeks. And we'll leave it for there. So we'll speak to you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Peace.